Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, as we get ready for the end season challenge, we're going to do a little video back here with all my picks for the entire challenge. And then each week on the preview of the races, I go ahead and kind of see where we're at result-wise and update any changes that I'm going to make. Obviously, when somebody gets eliminated, I kind of keep the big one like the complete one, and we'll kind of just add to it a little bit as we go. So now what I have done is I went through and looked at all the Sonoma stats for the last 4 years in the Gen 7 car and went through the head-to-heads and based it off that. And then when I got to Chicagoland, which is round two, I looked at all the intermediate tracks, the quote cookie cutter tracks, the Vegas, Charlotte, Kansas, Texas, and I took all the stats, and I only used the last 6 races, I believe it was. So how the drivers have done in the last 6 races. So a little bit smaller sample size, but it kind of more recent stuff. And then I look at the head-to-heads, and kind of went from there. I did not necessarily pick drivers that I liked. There's a couple matchups where there's drivers I like more than others that I picked who I thought was going to do it. When we got to Echo Park Speedway, I looked at the stats from the race earlier this year. And then since we haven't had a points race in North Wilkesboro, you really can't look at the All-Star stats. So I just looked at who was left and kind of how they normally do on like a Richmond and Iowa, a Martinsville, kind of the short track guys. And then I got my winner. And so some may be surprised who my winner is, some may not. I actually have his shirt. He's one of my favorite drivers, but I didn't pick him because he's my favorite driver. The way the head-to-heads fell, I kind of thought he was going to be the best in that race. So let's get started. So again, I'm going to run through the entire bracket, both sides. So round 1 at Sonoma. Tyler Reddick versus Alex Bowman. Picking Tyler Reddick. Austin Cindric versus Brad Keselowski. I'm picking Brad Keselowski. Daniel Suarez versus Todd Gilliland. Picking Daniel Suarez. Carson Hocevar versus Zane Smith. I'm taking Carson Hocevar. Chase Briscoe versus AJ Allmendinger. This one I thought about for a little bit. I looked at a bunch of stats on this one. I am taking the Dinger, AJ Allmendinger. Ty Gibbs versus Austin Dillon. I'm taking Ty Gibbs. This is one that kind of gave me a little question. 13 seed Bubba Wallace taking on the 20 seed Michael McDowell. I'm a Bubba fan, but I know McDowell's better at road courses. Even though Bubba just finished second at Coronado, he has had a top 10 at COTA, but overall, typically at Sonoma and other road courses, Michael McDowell's better, so I did take Michael McDowell. Chase Elliott versus Noah Gragson, I took Chase Elliott. Then on the other side of the bracket, what's this one? Took Denny Hamlin over Ty Dillon. Eric Jones and Joey Logano. I took Joey Logano. Chris Buescher and John Hunter Nemechek. I took Chris Buescher. This one really perplexed me because we don't know what's going to happen. Seabell versus Ross Chastain. We saw what happened at Coronado with Seabell getting out of the car, putting Brent Cruz in. Unfortunately, there was a mechanical issue that caused Brent Cruz not to basically beat DNF. That goes against Seabell because he started the race. I know Ross Chastain doesn't have speed right now, but he is using an SVG setup. He has one on the road course. Not knowing what is going to happen with Seabell, I went in and took Ross Chastain there. William Byron, Ricky Stenhouse, I took William Byron. Kyle Larson and Riley Herbst, took Kyle Larson. Shane Van Gisbergen and Ryan Preece, I took Van Gisbergen. I think a lot of people probably did. Ryan Blaney versus Josh Berry, I took Ryan Blaney. That gets us to Chicagoland. I'll have Tyler Reddick versus Brad Keselowski, taking Tyler Reddick. Daniel Suarez versus Carson Hocevar. Holy cow. Teammates at 1.5 miles. So bad I wanted to pick Carson here, but I took Daniel Suarez. AJ Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs, I took Ty Gibbs. Michael McDowell and Chase Elliott. I took Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. That could be fun. I took Denny Hamlin. Chris Buescher and Ross Chastain. I took Chris Buescher. William Byron and Kyle Larson. Another, teammates. Based on the intermediates in the last 6 races of this year and late last year, William Byron actually has a better average finish than Kyle Larson. Shane Van Gisbergen and Ryan Blaney, and went into Ryan Blaney. And then when we get to Echo Park Speedway, Tyler Reddick versus Daniel Suarez. I actually took Daniel Suarez here. Even though Reddick won Echo Park earlier this year, Suarez just typically does better on that style of track. You know what? I'm switching it. I'm going Reddick because he did win Echo Park this year. I'm going Tyler Reddick there. So Tyler Reddick beating Daniel Suarez. And then I got Ty Gibbs beating Chase Elliott. On the other side, I got Denny Hamlin beating Chris Buescher. William Byron and Ryan Blaney. I got Ryan Blaney. So that gets us to North Wilkesboro. We'll have Tyler Reddick versus Ty Gibbs. I got Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin versus Ryan Blaney. I got Denny Hamlin. And then when we get to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Tyler Reddick versus Denny Hamlin. I got Denny Hamlin winning the whole thing. The tiebreaker predict how many laps the in-season challenge champion will lead during the 5-race tournament. 1,247 total laps. Not going to say my number, but it's less than what some people would think. So I am going to actually share this bracket on X. It's going to be Rob Sports Show there, so you'll be able to go there and see my bracket. So I got that. Just put that over there. Alright, so the in-season tournament, Sonoma, Chicagoland, Echo Park Speedway, North Wilkesboro, and Indianapolis, the 5 races that are on TNT. I have the finals, Denny Hamlin taking on Tyler Reddick in Indianapolis, and the one and only Denny Hamlin winning it all. Alright, stay tuned, Rubber Sports Show. Got a couple other topics I'm going to do this week. I've got a schedule idea, kind of a fantasy booking of the schedule. We'll get that up as well as we get ready for the Sonoma race this weekend, and first race of the in-season tournament, and first race on TNT of the 2026 season. As always, thanks for watching Rubber Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Rubber Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.